situation. Governor Ivey said during her announcement earlier today that she got a lot of advice from the state task force on COVID-19 during her decision-making process. And one of those members of the task force, local state Senator Chris Eilliot of Baldwin County, District 32. Chris, thank you for joining us right now.
Thanks for having me on.
Sure. Senator, what was the tipping point for the governor in opening the beaches up fully as she's done?
Well, honestly, I think it was the lieutenant governor's task force that made those recommendations, that was really supported strongly by the mayors of Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, and Dauphin Island, all of whom came together to say, Governor, we support what the lieutenant governor is saying. We support what Chris is saying, and we're ready to get back to work here for coastal Alabama beaches. And we're going to have the law enforcement capability, the lifeguard capability to enforce social distancing. We think we can handle it. We think we can handle it safely. So that I think gave the state health officer and the governor the security that they needed in order to go ahead, lift the closure order on beaches, and get that tourism economy, that $4.7 billion a year tourism economy, back up and running.
Also, you brought to her attention that not the guidelines, but the projections for hospitalizations from COVID-19 were not nearly as much as first thought. I think that was a key point as well, was it not?
Absolutely, and that's one of the good news stories about this entire event, has been that the projections were just not, what we're seeing in reality is not as bad as the projections, right? The mortality rate hasn't been as bad, the number of acute cases haven't been as bad, and the hospital utilization rate, which was the reason for the stay-at-home order, simply never was bad enough to justify it, and that's a good thing. But it was time, really past time in my mind, to go ahead and start relaxing some of these restrictions so that we can get our economy back up and running.
Senator, also the task force did recommend that nail and hair salons be reopened as well. What happened to that?
Well, the governor and the state health officer just clearly did not feel that was warranted right now, and that goes along with other important issues in our economy, like some entertainment venues, and also, of course, restaurants. And that is where we're really reeling. The National Restaurant Association and the State Restaurant Association had really laid out some very clear guidelines that were in the governor or the lieutenant governor's report, and also in a lot of the congressional feedback that the governor got, that I think really could have allowed our restaurants to get back up and running sooner rather than later. And that's something I hope that they both Dr. Scott Harris and Governor Ivey revisit sooner rather than later, so that hopefully we can get some of our restaurants back in business.
Right. We know that they're going to be meeting with the Restaurant Association this week. Senator Chris Eilliot, thank you so much for your time, sir. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.